The topic that is assigned to me to be discussed is all about types of test scores. So, types of test scores include developmental score, percentage scores, raw score, standard score, and standard score. So, a test score is a piece of information, usually a number that conveys the performance of an examinee on a test. One formal definition is that it is summary of the evidence contained in an examinee's responses to the items of a test that are related to the construct of constructs being measured. So, ibig sabihin ng test score it is the total score that we gain in a particular examination or a test. So first type of test score is raw scores. The first unadjusted score obtained in scoring a test. A raw score is usually determined by tallying the number of questions answered correctly or by the sum or combination of the item scores. Like for example, points. However, a raw score could also refer to any number directly obtained by the test administration. Example, a raw score is derived by formula scoring amount of time required to perform a task and also the number of errors. As we observe in this table, person 1 or student 1 got a raw score of 43 and we assume that the total items that he or she take is 50. So out of 50, he or she got 43 and so on and so on. So percentage scores refers to the percent of items answered correctly in a test. The number of items answered correctly is typically converted percent based on the total score. Like for example, in this picture, Ron gain or obtain a 58 out of 80 items on a particular exam or a test. So it is equivalent to 72.5% and also the other student. So next is the criterion reference grading system. So there is a fixed target and the students must achieve that target in order to obtain a passing grade in a course. So, ibig sabihin, naka-fixed target na itong criterion reference grading system. Like for example, we have take 80 items examination. So if we want to pass those exam or a test, we should obtain the fixed target equivalent to 75%. So the scale does not change regardless of the quality or lack thereof of the students. So this fixed target does not change regardless kung ano man ang mastery or the knowledge of the students. The purpose of the criterion reference grading system is to measure the skills and knowledge of a student has mastered. First, types of criterion reference grading system is a pass or fail grade, letter grade, plus and minus letter grade, and last is the categorical grades. So first, pass or fail grade. Exactly what it sounds like. So instead of a traditional letter grade based on a number system, the student receive a passing grade or a failing grade. For many colleges, a student receive a pass if he earns a D or a higher in the class and fail if they earn anything lower. So, ibig sabihin, instead of numbers, the teachers or the facilitators indicate letter F if the student failed in that particular academic year or put letter P if it is if he or she pass the course. So letter grade, it is the traditional system. Students' performance are summarized by means of letters. Thus, A stands for excellent, and C stands for average, D stands for needing improvement, and as in F is a failure. So next is a plus and minus letter grade. The use of plus and minus specified as performance scores that represent the higher levels and lower levels of students' performance within the letter grade respectively. Historically, there have not been plus minus grades in use for undergraduate or graduate student course grading. In other words, the standard letter grading system of A, B, C, D, and F has not included grades such as B plus or C minus as an option for instructor to use in those courses. So as we observe in this picture or table, before the letter grade is specifically only to letter A, B, C, D, and F, but because of that the teacher wants to include grades such as B plus or C minus as options. They include plus and minus in a letter grade. So to specify or to indicate right grade to his student. Next is a categorical grades. This system of grading is generally more descriptive than letter grades, especially if coupled with verbal labels. Verbal labels eliminate the need for K of legitimatous other grades category means. So exceeding standards, the teacher or the instructor gives advanced, explanatory, expert, or master. If the student meeting its standards, he or she give or the instructor gives intermediate, accomplished, proficient, distinguished to the report card of a student. Next is a norm reference grading system. So refers to a grading system wherein a student's performance is evaluated relatively to the performance of the other student. Using the norm reference grading system, a student performance is evaluated relatively to the performance of other students within the group. The students are evaluated in a relationship to one another. This grading system rests on the assumption of that the level of student performance will not vary much from class to class. So we also have developmental score. It is a type of score that is used to show an individual's position along a developmental continuum. Developmental scores allow comparisons to be made to a series of reference groups that differ systematically and developmentally in average achievement, usually age or grade groups. So the different types of developmental score is a grade equivalent score, age equivalent, percentile rank, standard score, and standard score. Grade equivalent score. The grade equivalent is a number that describes a student's location on an achievement continuum. Grade equivalents are expressed in terms of grade in months into grade, assuming a 10-month school year. Example, 8.4 means after 4 months of instruction, the 8th grade. The grade equivalent corresponding to a given score on any test indicates the grade level at which the typical student obtained his scores. Because of this, grades equivalents are not based on an equal interval scale and therefore cannot be added, subtracted, or average scores test level the way other scores can, scale scores, or standard scores. Next is the age equivalent. Its equivalent is the chronological age in a defined population for which a given score is the median or middle score. An examinee assigned an age equivalent of 7 to 5 indicate that he or she received the same score. Raw score, skill score, standard score, etc. as average child who is 7 years or 5 months old. Age equivalent test scores are also known as mental age or test age. Some are defined by grade level. However, age equivalent scores are not usually considered the most precise scores for measuring a student's performance on a test. Next, a percentile rank. The percentage of scores in a specified distribution that fall at or below the point of given score. The percentile ranks range in value from 1 to 99 and indicate the status or relative standing of an individual within a specified group by indicating the percent of individuals in that group who obtain lower scores. The percentile rank of a score is the percentage of scores in its frequency distribution that are equal to or lower than it. For example, a test score that is greater than 75% of the score of people taking test is said to be at 75 percentile, where 75 is the percentile rank. So to get the percentile rank, we have this formula R equals P divided by 100, open and close parentheses, in plus 1. So next, we have Stanine score. The name Stanine score is simply a derivation of the term standard 9 scale. Stanines are normalized standard score ranging in value from 1 to 9 whose distribution has a mean of 5. And a standard deviation of 2, stanines 2 through 8 are equal to a 1/2 standard deviation unit in width, with the middle stanine of 5 defined as the range of scores 1/4 of standard deviation below to 1/4 of standard deviation above the mean. Stanines can more easily be thought of as scores groupings of percentile ranks. Unlike percentile ranks indicate the status of relative rank of score within a particular group. Next is a standard score. So there are two types of standard score, which is the G-score or and a T-score that use for to test hypothesis on a specific research or study. The standard score is a type of derived score which is a transformation of the raw score and whose score distribution in a specified population has convenient known values for the mean and standard deviation. So the standard score, more commonly referred to as a G-score, is a very useful statistic because it first allows us to calculate the probability of a score occurring with our normal distribution and enable us to compare those scores that different normal distribution. A G-score is a type of standard score such that the distribution of the score for a specified population have a mean of 0.0 and standard deviation of 1.0. The G-score indicates the amounts of student score, deviates from the mean in relation to the standard deviation of the group. For example, if a student score is 25 and the group mean and standard deviation are 15 and 5 respectively, then the student G-score would be 2.0, indicating that student scored 2 standard deviation above the group mean. T-scores. It is a normalized standard score having a mean of 50 and a standard deviation of 10. T-scores are a direct transformation of G-scores and range from 20 to 80, corresponding to approximately 3 standard deviation above and below the mean. So to calculate the T-scores, T equals scores estimated mean and over estimated standard deviation. So like for example, what is the t-score of someone 6 tall if the sample mean is 5'8" and the estimated standard deviation is 3 inches? So the t is equals to 6 minus 5'8" over 3. So equals 72 minus 68, and over 3 equals 4 over 3, and the result is 1.33. So that's all the different types of test scores, and thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something from me. So God bless us all.